3, 2, 1.
Is there when you talk about world building, you have to set some rules. Is there almost like a urge to sometimes break those rules, just maybe, and you try to almost kill yourself from it? Yeah.
Well,
And I think many writers cannot do that.
Well, so our background is in comics, and this happens all the time, and we learn some lessons. We learn some lessons from that. But it's a constant struggle, and if you don't stick to that, you always well, here's 2 classic ones from Marvel. These were 2 unbreakable rules when I was working over there, and also when I was a fan of the books, is that Bucky Barnes was dead. He's never coming back in the Captain America, and no one but Thor can pick up Thor's hammer. Those were 2 hard and fast rules. And, of course, every writer who ever came to them, or any creator who came to them, had their Bucky Barnes story, or had their somebody else picks up Thor's hammer story, and for the longest time, the editor said no. Nope, these are hard and fast rules. But, time moves on, somebody finally says yes, and all of a sudden, boom, all of a sudden you have the Winter Soldier. So it's great that the Winter Soldier came in there, but it wasn't like there wasn't a whole bunch of other people who were pitching returns of Bucky Barnes stories for 30 years before that. It was just that they just held out for a long time. And I think that much like with Ben here, the fact that there are all of these aliens in there, once we broke that 10 alien marker, then we really did have to start thinking about in terms of, well, what was the Omnitrix built for? What was the bigger reason for it? And things like that. And I do think that we came up with a good reason for it, but I do also think that was an example of moving the goal a little bit. It got moved, and I wouldn't want to do that too many more times. It's dangerous to do that from a storyteller.
Yeah, it's like we can compare it with Thor's Mjolnir, and when Captain America lifted Mjolnir, it was a spectacle because you have a background, you have everything. It's logical, but now when 10 characters have lifted Thor's Mjolnir,
I know it loses all of that importance. And those spectacles are great in the moment, but they do diminish the rule over a period of time, and I think that can really cripple the longevity of a character and the world that it built. Some people say that it opens it up. It opens it up for a lot of other interpretation, and it's true. That's why some of these characters have life with different creators 30 years later. All of a sudden, somebody came up with a really great idea that the originators didn't,
We stay genuine, uncensored, and unscripted, and we always will, as we have to order our usual. Share us, subscribe us, and stay tuned until the next Wednesday. Iguzo!